There's a number you will wish you had reached, not in your bank account, in ounces of silver. One day, when prices have moved, when shelves are empty, when someday has turned into too late, you will look back at this exact moment and ask yourself one question. How many ounces of silver did I decide to hold while I still had the chance? Stay with me, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to challenge how you think about money, time, and opportunity. And by the end, you'll know exactly what your first, second, and ultimate silver goals should be, and what kind of person you must become to reach them. It's late at night. The world is noisy, but your room is quiet. You're scrolling, tired, maybe a little anxious. Prices are going up. Rent is up. Food is up. Your paycheck? Not so much. You feel it. Something is off. You're working harder, yet somehow standing still. And there, on a small shelf in your closet, are a few simple silver coins. Cold, heavy, real. They don't care about interest rates, promises, or political speeches. They just sit there, holding value the way they have for thousands of years. Silent, patient. You pick one up, you feel its weight, and you realize you don't own this ounce. This ounce owns a piece of your future. That's the power of silver. It's not just an investment. It's a statement. A statement that says, I refuse to let my future be printed away. I refuse to trust my entire life to numbers on a screen. I will hold something real, something finite, something that doesn't apologize when the system breaks. But here's the question everyone whispers, and almost nobody answers clearly. How many ounces of silver should you really be holding before it's too late? Before I give you a framework, a real set of targets you can aim at, let me tell you a story. There was a mechanic, let's call him Marcus. During the last major financial crisis, while most people were panicking, Marcus was curious. He didn't know much about investing. He wasn't reading Wall Street reports. He was just a hardworking guy who noticed one thing. Everything around him seemed to be getting more expensive, except his savings account. One day, an older customer came into his garage, paid cash, silver coins, real bullion. Marcus had never held it before. He turned the coin over in his hand and asked, "Why this? Why not just cash?" The old man smiled and said, "Because they can print cash, but they can't print this." That one sentence hit Marcus harder than any motivational speech. He went home, searched how to buy silver, and instead of trying to time the market, he made a simple decision. Every month, no matter what, I'm turning part of my work into something real. He started small, 10 ounces, then 20, then 50, some months, only a single ounce. No drama, no gambling, just discipline. Years passed. Prices moved up and down. He didn't care. He kept stacking. And when silver finally surged, Marcus didn't have a get-rich-quick moment. He had a get-free-slowly moment. He didn't sell everything. He didn't cash out his future. He sold just enough silver to clear his remaining debts and seed his dream, opening his own garage. That garage exists today because of two things: his willingness to work and his decision to store the fruits of that work in something real. Listen carefully. Silver alone won't build your life, but silver combined with discipline, vision, and courage, that can change everything. So how many ounces should you hold? Let's build this answer from the inside out, starting with your mindset, not just your math. First, understand what silver really is in your life. For some people, silver is just a speculation, a bet. For others, it's insurance, a hedge when currencies weaken. But for those who build real wealth, silver becomes something deeper, a measuring stick of discipline. Every ounce you hold is a physical receipt that says, I took money I could have wasted and turned it into something I can touch. Imagine your life as a house, your skills, your career, your business. That's the structure, the design, the furniture. Silver? Silver is part of your foundation. It's not flashy. It doesn't brag. It just sits under everything, quietly making sure the house doesn't crack when the ground starts to shake. And here's the first micro shift. Stop asking, will silver make me rich? Start asking, will silver help keep me free while I build real wealth with my mind and my actions? Because real wealth is not a metal. Real wealth is the person you become. Now, let's get very practical. Think of your silver in 3 tiers: survival, stability, and legacy. Survival first. This is your sleep at night stack. For many disciplined investors, this might be a target like 100 ounces, or enough ounces that if your local currency suddenly lost major purchasing power, you could cover a few months of essential expenses by trading in a part of your stack. That number will be different for everyone. For some, 50 ounces is a big victory. For others, 200 might be the first milestone. The specific number isn't as important as what it represents. I'm no longer fully naked in this system. Your first mission is not to impress anyone. Your first mission is to own enough silver that, when you hold it in your hand, you feel a subtle shift inside, from fear to quiet confidence. Stability, second. This is where you move beyond emotional comfort into strategic positioning. Many thoughtful investors, historically, have aimed to keep a slice of their net worth, often something like 5 to 10%, in physical precious metals like silver and gold. Not as a gamble, but as a counterweight to everything else. Again, this is not personal financial advice. It's a pattern, a principle. As your income grows, your stability stack might mean 300 ounces, 500 ounces, 1,000 ounces. Each ounce here is like a brick in a wall between you and chaos. Legacy third. This is where you're no longer stacking only for you, but for the people who come after you. The truth is, many families lose wealth over generations because they leave behind cash and accounts, but not wisdom or real assets. Silver can be one of the simplest, most tangible ways to pass something solid forward. Imagine handing your child, or your future self, not just a number on a screen, but a box of ounces with a story. These represent decades of discipline, patience, and belief that our family would not be owned by a system, but would own something outside of it. So how many ounces is enough? Enough is when you can say, if the system shakes, I'm not erased. If prices swing, I'm not panicking. If opportunity comes, property, business, a chance to pivot, I have something real to move with. For some, that may be 100 ounces. For others, 1,000 or more. The real secret? It's not one single magic number. It's the journey from zero to your first meaningful milestone, to a place where silver is a consistent part of your life, not a passing phase. Stay with me, because now we move from theory to action. If you were starting from scratch today, what would this actually look like? First, decide on a habit, not a hope. Hope says, one day when I have extra money, I'll buy silver. Habit says, every month, no matter what, I convert a small, fixed part of my energy into ounces. Maybe that's 5% of your income. Maybe it's the money you used to blow on empty subscriptions, random apps, or a night out you don't even remember. There was a single mother, a nurse, long shifts, 2 kids, tired but determined. She wasn't making huge money, but she made one crucial decision. Every payday, I'm buying at least 1 ounce of silver. Just one. 1 coin at a time. While others said, it's not worth it, it's just a few dollars. She kept going. Over 5 years, that turned into a solid little stack. She didn't talk about it, she didn't flaunt it online. She just quietly, consistently traded her stress for something solid. Then inflation hit harder. Rent jumped. Car repairs. The usual storms of life. But when she needed a bridge, just a little extra to get through, she had it. Not on a credit card, not from a bank, from herself. That's the power of tiny, stubborn habits. Second, choose simple, boring forms of silver first. Not collectibles you don't understand, not risky schemes. Start with well-known bullion coins and bars from reputable mints and dealers. Think government-minted coins, widely recognized rounds, basic bars. The stuff that doesn't require you to be an expert to understand what you own. The goal is not to look smart. The goal is to be secure. Third, decide how you'll store it, because silver you can't access isn't really yours. For some, that means a safe at home. For others, a secure box, a well-thought-out hiding place, or professional storage if the stack becomes very large. Whatever you choose, make sure it's deliberate, safe, private, not a secret you'll forget. Fourth, set milestone numbers. This is where how many ounces should I hold becomes powerful. Don't just say, I'll buy some silver. Say, my first milestone is 50 ounces. My second milestone is 100 ounces. My serious stability target is 500 ounces. And my long-term vision, if life allows, is 1,000 plus ounces and beyond. Paired with investments in my skills, my business, and my mind. You might not hit every target. Life happens. But when you have clear numbers, vague wishes turn into concrete missions. And while you're stacking ounces, you must also stack character. Because here's what almost nobody will tell you. Silver without discipline is just metal. Silver without vision is just a pile. Silver without courage is just a heavy comfort blanket. You need all three. Discipline, to buy when it's boring. Vision, to hold when others laugh or doubt. Courage, to use it wisely when the time is right. There will be moments when prices fall and you feel dumb. Keep stacking. There will be moments when prices rise and greed whispers, sell it all, cash out, go crazy. Stay wise. Ask yourself, each time you make a move, does this decision move me closer to freedom or just closer to excitement? Because your goal is not excitement. Your goal is control. Now, let's connect silver to something much bigger than money. Every ounce you hold is a reminder that you are not powerless. You're not just a consumer of whatever the system serves you. You are a creator of your own foundation. When you buy silver instead of wasting money, you're making a powerful identity shift. I am the kind of person who thinks in decades, not days. I am the kind of person who builds, not just spends. I am the kind of person who prepares, not panics. That identity will spill over into everything. Your career, your health, your relationships, your dreams. The same mindset that says, I'll stack ounces steadily for years, is the mindset that says, I'll build my skills, my business, my body, my mind, even when no one is clapping. Silver becomes a mirror reflecting back the person you are becoming. And at some point, you will face this choice. Do I just want to own a little silver, or do I want to own my future? Because owning your future is not just about metal in a safe. It's about knowledge in your mind, habits in your day, courage in your heart. So ask yourself, if prices exploded tomorrow, would you be proud of the stack you hold? If nothing dramatic happens for 5 years, would you be proud of the discipline you maintained? If your children asked, what did you do when you realized the system was fragile? Would you have an answer that makes you stand taller? Too late doesn't just mean the price went up. Too late means you ran out of time to become the person you could have been. The good news, right now, this second, you're not too late. You can decide today that your relationship with money, wealth, and security will change. You can start small, 1 ounce. You can build habits, a fixed percentage. You can educate yourself, read, learn, ask questions. You can pair silver with other smart investments, your skills, side hustles, businesses, assets that produce cash flow. You can choose to be awake rather than average. So, how many ounces of silver should you really be holding before it's too late? Here's the real answer. Enough that you can look your future self in the eyes and say, I didn't ignore the warning signs. I didn't drift. I didn't hope and do nothing. I moved. I acted. I prepared. Enough that if the system shakes, you bend, but you don't break. Enough that opportunity doesn't pass you by because you have nothing real to move with. Enough that your stack is not just a number, but a story of who you decided to become. For some, that story begins at 10 ounces. For others, it unfolds into hundreds, even thousands. But for all of us, it starts with one decision. Will I keep trusting everything to paper, or will I claim a piece of something real? Most people approach money like a casino. They want excitement, they want the rush, they want to guess the right thing at the right time and boast about it later. But that mentality is exactly what keeps them fragile, anxious, and constantly chasing. Silver only becomes powerful when you step out of that game and decide it's not a bet, but a base. For thousands of years, civilizations have come and gone. Currencies have risen and collapsed. Empires have printed and inflated and defaulted. Through it all, silver didn't need a marketing campaign. It didn't need a central bank. It just existed, quietly acting as a store of value, a medium of exchange, a backstop when trust disappeared. That's what it means to treat silver as a foundation. You see it as something that remains when the noise dies down. Think of your financial life like building a house. Most people obsess over the decorations, the car, the clothes, the status purchases, the short-term trades, but none of that matters if the ground underneath is soft. Silver is part of hard ground. It doesn't replace your income, your skills, or your business, but it underpins them. When currencies fluctuate, when markets throw tantrums, those ounces in your hand are not a promise from someone else. They're value in its most honest form. If your mindset is, I'll buy silver now and flip it when it doubles, you're treating it like a scratch-off ticket. That thinking makes you emotional, impatient, and vulnerable to hype. But when your mindset is, I'm converting a slice of my effort into something real for the next decade and beyond, the same ounce becomes something different. It becomes a time capsule of your discipline, a quiet anchor that doesn't care about today's headlines. A real foundation isn't exciting. Concrete is not glamorous. The steel beams in a skyscraper aren't the part tourists photograph. Yet without them, the whole structure fails. Silver works the same way. No one is clapping when you buy a couple of ounces each month. Social media doesn't explode when you slip another bar into a safe, but you are laying down metal beams under your future life, piece by piece. This is also how you protect your mind. When all your wealth exists as digits on a screen controlled by others, anxiety never fully leaves. A blackout, a freeze, a policy change, a banking scare, any of it can shake your sense of security. But when some portion of your net worth lives in your own physical custody, in a form that has outlasted kings and currencies, you carry a different kind of calm. Think of silver stacking not as a one-time event, but as a recurring ritual you build into your life. The people who end up with meaningful stacks almost never got there by dumping in a huge amount all at once. They got there the same way you build strength in a gym or skills in a craft. Small, repeatable actions carried out over long stretches of time. When you decide that a fixed portion of every paycheck, every month, flows into silver, you remove the drama from the process. It stops being "should I buy now?" and becomes "this is what I do." Clear milestones turn that habit into a mission. Vague goals like "I want a lot of silver" don't move you. Specific targets like 10, 50, 100, 250, 500 ounces give you something concrete to chase. When you're aiming for 50 ounces, every single ounce matters. You feel progress with each coin. You're not just buying metal. You're moving closer to a defined line you drew for yourself. Once you hit 50, you don't stop. You set a new marker, maybe 100. Over time, these numbers become chapters in your financial story. Milestones also protect your mindset when prices move. If silver dips and all you care about is short-term profit, you'll feel fear or regret. But if your focus is, "I'm on my way to 100 ounces," a dip becomes a chance to add more weight to your stack at a better price. Your goal isn't to impress the market. Your goal is to hit the next rung on your own ladder. This shift, from price obsession to progress obsession, is where many people quietly separate themselves from the crowd. To make the habit real, anchor it to your existing routines. The same day you pay your rent or mortgage, you pay your future by buying a set amount of silver. The same way some people automatically fund a retirement account, you automatically fund your stack. Even if it's just a single ounce some months, repetition is more important than size. You can adjust the amount as your income grows, but you don't break the chain. Track your progress somewhere you can see it. A simple note on your phone, a journal entry, a chart on the wall. Each advance from 10 to 25, from 25 to 50, from 50 to 100 becomes visible proof that you can set a financial intention and honor it over time. Picture your silver stack as 3 distinct tiers, each with its own purpose: survival, stability, and legacy. The survival tier is your first line of defense, the base layer that gives you psychological and practical security. This is the amount of silver that, if your local currency took a serious hit or your income was disrupted, could help you bridge a few critical months. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about being able to look at your pile and think, if everything went sideways, I'm not completely exposed. For some, this might be a target like 50 or 100 ounces, but the exact number is less important than the idea. This tier exists to help you sleep better at night. The stability tier begins once survival is covered. Here, silver becomes a structural part of your overall net worth, a counterbalance to paper assets, digital promises, and systems you don't control. Many thoughtful investors think of this as a percentage of their total wealth, where silver and other precious metals act like ballast in a ship, keeping it steady through financial storms. This tier is about resilience over years and decades, not days. When markets swing or currencies erode, the stability tier is there to quietly hold its own, reducing your dependence on any single system or asset class. The legacy tier is where your vision stretches beyond your own lifetime. Silver here is no longer just about what you might need in a crisis or during volatility. It becomes something you intend to pass on. This might be specific coins or bars set aside for children or grandchildren, or a portion of your stack you mentally label as never to be touched unless absolutely necessary. The legacy tier turns silver into a story, physical proof that someone in your bloodline chose to think long-term, to protect value in a form that can be held, understood, and respected by the next generation. Silver stacking becomes far more powerful when it's not the only thing you're building. Discipline is what turns good intentions into real ounces. When you decide that buying silver is a rule in your life, not a random choice, you start to shape your identity. You become someone who follows through financially. That same muscle of discipline, showing up regardless of moods, headlines, or price swings, is the exact muscle you need to save, invest, learn, and take deliberate risks in every other area of money. Skill building multiplies whatever foundation silver gives you. An ounce of silver can store the value of your past work, but your skills determine the value of your future work. As you learn high-income skills, deepen your expertise, or build a business, your capacity to buy and hold silver grows. Rather than obsessing over squeezing a few extra dollars out of each trade, you're focusing on increasing the amount you can consistently allocate. Someone who doubles their income through skills and keeps stacking modestly will often outpace someone who chases price targets without upgrading themselves. Long-term vision is the frame holding it all together. If your time horizon is a week or a month, every dip or spike in the silver price feels emotional. When your horizon stretches to 5, 10, 20 years, silver becomes one piece of a larger picture, a life where you own productive assets, low debt, strong skills, and a base of real money outside the system. You start viewing your stack not as something to constantly tinker with, but as part of a broader plan that includes cash reserves, income streams, and personal growth, all aiming at a future where you work because you choose to, not because you have no other option. Too late almost never feels like a single moment. It feels like a slow drift, prices rising, savings buying less, debt creeping up, and years of I'll start later piling on top of each other. Acting before it's too late means noticing that drift and choosing to interrupt it. Every time you trade your future for a short burst of consumption, you're voting against your own freedom. Converting excess spending into real assets like silver is how you start voting the other way. Look at your monthly life as a flow of energy. Money is just stored effort, hours, stress, skills turned into digits. When that energy leaks out into constant upgrades, impulse buys, and forgettable luxuries, it disappears into the past. When you redirect even a fraction of it into silver, you turn fleeting moments into something that stays. That coffee subscription, that random gadget, that third streaming service you barely use. Each one is a potential ounce you decided not to hold. Acting now doesn't mean recklessly throwing everything into silver. It means being honest about what is truly excess consumption versus what sustains you. It means building a buffer before a crisis forces your hand. People who wait for headlines to scream emergency often find shelves empty, premiums sky high, or their own budget too tight to move. Those who made quiet, steady conversions along the way are the ones with options when the crowd finally wakes up. The mindset shift is simple but powerful. Every discretionary dollar asks you a question. Will you experience it once and forget it? Or will you store it in a form that might serve you for decades? Silver is one answer to that question. Not the only answer, but a very real, very tangible one. Later, you can diversify into other assets, build businesses, and invest in opportunities. But the habit of turning consumption into ownership starts here. You don't need perfect timing. You need consistent transfer. Small amounts, moved regularly from lifestyle inflation into hard assets, accumulate quietly. One day you look back and see that instead of a trail of faded receipts, you have a stack of ounces that holds the memory of all the times you chose your future over the urge of the moment. If this message is stirring something in you, don't let it fade when this video ends. Write down your first silver milestone. 10 ounces, 50, 100, whatever is realistic yet challenging. Then commit to a habit that will get you there. And as you stack something greater. Your discipline, your vision, your courage. If you found value in this, if your eyes are just a little more open than before, I want you to take one more step. Hit like so this message spreads. Subscribe so you stay close to ideas that build you instead of distract you. Share this with someone you care about, someone who needs a calm, clear voice saying, "Wake up, you still have time?" Because silver is more than a metal. It's a symbol that says, I will not be a victim of the system. I will be the architect of my future. Your future is watching. The question is waiting. When that day comes, how many ounces of silver will you be holding, and who will you have become in the process? The decision starts now.